Welcome to CAD Tools. I will be demonstrating the CAD Tools AutoCAD and Excel Data Exchange. We will start with a simple elevation, and I have, it's a basic elevation, has a jamb, a mullion, head and sill, intermediate horizontal, just the main parts. We'll be starting with, I have an attribute file already made up. The data exchange, I tried to design it so it could extract any attribute data, but this was the main design I'm looking for, which would include an extrusion number, the length, which is associated with a line, and then a description. And the description is not required, but you'll see where it can be utilized later when it works with the Metal Optimizer. So first we will start importing the data into each elevation. Now the attribute data is separate from the line, and later on we will group them, so when you select them they'll both be selected at the same time, which in big drawings that'll help later on. And since the data is associated with this line, as you change the line, AutoCAD automatically will change the dimension in the attribute data, which right now our mullion height was 83.5, and when you do a redraw or regen, it automatically updates it, and when you print, a regen will automatically happen. So now we want to, this was a sample, so I want to change the information. So I will go to the attribute text editor, select the file. The extrusions, I just made them up, so it was going to be an EX 2100. This will be in my sample CAD file, and this is a storefront project, so the jamb mullion and the intermediate mullion are the same, so I will just call this a mullion. So then the data is in there, the extrusion number, the part length, and a description. And then later on, the tag information will be imported back into AutoCAD after you've manipulated it with whatever optimizer you want to use after you extract the data. So once that one's done, then we will copy. And the great part about this is AutoCAD assigns a data string to each entity, so it knows which one it is, and you will see that information will be extracted later on. Let's move this on up here. Nice open space. So we got a mullion, but then, since they are not grouped together, and then we will make a pocket filler. I like using the old attribute editor, because to me it's simpler. Extrusion 02. And that, it's a pocket filler. You can just keep it simple. And then we will make a jamb, which will be the same as this one. And we can move them, the tags, anywhere you want, and then when I submit a shop drawing, I have the tags turned off, so none of that is visible. until after we're ready to optimize and make cut lists for our shop. So then I will just, while we were still in it, I will make a horizontal one, a head horizontal, and quickly, actually we can just rotate this one since it's not grouped. And then just locate it in, and then just trim it to your horizontal length. And then we will change this data. 3. And that's a head. And of course the length changed, and just do a regen, and it has the new length. Okay, in the group command, we will just type any random name, new, and then we just select the 3 items, and it will group them together. So now when you select it, they're all together, so when you copy them, it'll be easier. Okay, a note about the associated field. Let's we'll go into the editor, attribute editor. You can see that this one is associated with that line. So you double click in that field, you can associate. Originally I associated that with like a name object, but I wanted to be able to use formulas, because in some cases, like with curtain wall, like a pressure plate, you'll want to do it like daylight minus 1/4 of an inch. And here's where right now all of them are associated to a formula, and it is minus 0 inches, could be plus 0 inches, but then that way it stays in formula mode, but then you can minus 1/4 of an inch. Then it would automatically take that dimension and subtract it 1/4 of an inch. In storefront, we don't really have that situation too often. Okay, once all of the data has been input, you have all of your attributes, you got the elevation ready, then you can quickly make additional elevations and then manipulate the one you currently have done. So we'll make another elevation. See, that was elevation D. We'll make an elevation F. Plus this quantity is 12 of them. And then we'll just stretch. And then I use the stretch once they're associated, once they're grouped, I use the stretch command to move them all. Once you have put all your tags where you want them, you can use the grips, which work great for individual. Everything looks pretty clear. And then you can continue copying and making new elevations. Okay, when you finish your elevations, get all the data in them, you have a shop drawing elevations. I wanted to point out one of the features which I had mentioned earlier about mitered information, and that's why I have a description and an example. This was a mitered storefront head, and I just tacked the word miter after the description, which later on in the MetalOp program it'll separate any extrusion that has that length. It'll have a separate part for it.